Hello again and welcome to another Morty and Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode, we shall be discussing list building. Oh, I know, only the most exciting topics here on the MG channel, but it is an integral part of the Warhammer experience. Building your list, fine-tuning it, putting the little details on, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, as they say. And so list building is, whilst maybe not the most exciting part of Warhammer, it is one of the most necessary if you want to play the game. And over the last, well, almost 12 months of playing Warhammer 10th edition, I have come to a rather startling conclusion. I hate building lists in Warhammer 40k. And with that rather bold statement made, let's fix bayonets and charge right into today's episode.
Attention guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
Now, before we get into this video, I just want to say that I fully appreciate that this is very likely going to come across as old man shouts at cloud and a back in my day, and I am basically being the equivalent of a Warhammer boomer with this video. But god damn it, this has just got to the point now where I am so frustrated with Warhammer list building that this feeling of irrational hatred has just boiled out and burst all over the surface. You see, I didn't used to dislike building lists in 40k. In fact, I can tell you right now that many a toilet break overran whilst I was at work because I would get lost in building lists on Battlescribe. I would revel in fine-tuning every last little point until I got to that perfect 2,000 points bang on the nose, or whatever the max limit was of the day. In sort of 5th edition, 6th edition, it was like 1,500 points. Then we played 1,750 in 8th edition. Well, 7th edition was 1,750. 8th edition was 1,850. And then I think we went up to 2,000 from sort of 8th edition, 9th edition onwards. But regardless, I used to spend so much time, and really big thing is I used to spend a huge amount of time discussing list building with my friends and with my brother. Oh my god, me and my brother. So he used to live a bit far away from me, and so I would go down to see him for Warhammer tournaments, and I would drive all the way down there, and on the way we'd be discussing sort of the fine-tuning, the details of the list and all that kind of good stuff. And on the way back after the tournament, we'd be talking all the way, like hour, 2 hours, just what did we learn for the tournament, and specifically what would we have changed about our list, how can we fine-tune, what are our next new amazing ideas. And to a certain extent, all of that still goes on. I still enjoy coming up with crazy lists. You guys enjoy helping me to create these mad meme lists, and sometimes you come up with full-blown meme lists and I'm just forced to run them due to, well, apparently this being some sort of democracy. I mean, I thought I was in command here, but apparently I am not in command here. You guys are in command here, and I keep getting sent to tournaments with increasingly balmy lists. And whilst the crazy ideas and the meme lists are still flowing like fine wine, it's the ideas which are keeping the list building fun, but not the actual list building process itself. And this comes down to one very simple but very fundamental change that's happened with lists and with Warhammer with 10th edition. And that is fixed points. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, Mordian, we've had fixed points now, they're here to stay, and we can't change anything about them. But no, I am railing against it, because Games Workshop said at the beginning of 10th edition they were going to redo the points things, we're not doing power level anymore, and then they did the old switcheroo, they brought in the M. Night Shyamalan twist, and suddenly apparently we were all playing power level just with different name. And everyone told me, Mordian, you should just give it a go, just try it out, it's new and exciting, don't be so close-minded. And I was like, you know what, that's fair enough. I will be open-minded, I will give it a go, I will try it out. Well, after pretty much a year of playing 10th edition, and after playing 100 competitive games of 40k, including practice games that were specifically for tournaments, I can categorically say that fixed points are bullshit. And the issue that I have with fixed points is that they're just frustrating to deal with. I can't tell you the last time that I built a list and I got to the end of it and I was happy. I'm never happy once I get to the end of a list. I either get to the end or get towards the end and I've got like a random amount, like 20 points left over that I can't spend, but I really want to spend, because I don't want to go into a tournament with like 1980 points. That's just weird. I want to go in there and I've used my amount. I know it's probably just a bit weird, bit of sort of anal retentiveness or OCD or whatever you want to call it, but just being 20 points down, it vexes me. I'm terribly vexed. So what I find myself is I get to the end, I've got these points left over, I either have to put some bullshit enhancement in just to make it seem like I am reaching the 2,000 points, but that's just the illusion of list completion. That doesn't scratch the itch, that doesn't count. I don't like that. What I then end up doing is going back, deconstructing the list, sometimes all the way back to the beginning, and trying to reconstruct it so that I can not only spend all of my points, but do so in a manner which I feel is effective. It feels like I'm not just wasting points, I'm not just putting something in for the sake of it. And that's annoying, because I might have come up with a really nice combination of units, and I can't tell you the amount of times that just to satisfy this little gremlin, this little monkey in my brain banging the symbols together, where I've basically taken probably a worse list, but hey, it's 2,000 points on the nose. It's damn close to what I want it to be, and at least now I feel like every unit in the army has got a purpose. But what's kind of interesting is this has come to light recently thanks to two things. Firstly, as I started expanding outside of the guard. See, I have a rather extensive guard collection that's not meant to be a flex. I've just been sinking my money into this faction for 2 decades. Pretty much on the nose at this point. And so I have just a few guard models sitting around that I have most of the options that I want, although a guard army is never completed. And so when I build my guard army, if I want to adjust a few things, I can do, because it's fact I can swap out that Cyclops for a tech priest, I can swap that commissar out for something else. It's not a problem. I can make the changes because I've got all the different options. But I've recently been expanding into other armies, like my Death Guard and my Tyranids. And oh my god, the amount of times that I've got to the end of like a Death Guard army. In fact, this happened recently. When I went to a tournament and took my Death Guard double Land Raider army to a tournament, I got to the end of the list and I was like, I've got 80 points left over. 80, not 20. I've got 80 points left over. What should I put in here? Well, I really want a little unit to sit on objectives. Okay, well, I'll put unit of cultists in there. Okay, well, that's 50 points. How many points do I have? 30. What did I spend 30 on? Literally nothing. Oh, well, why not put a unit of Plague Marines in there instead? Nah, I can't do that. They're 90 points. Oh. So I either need to be 30 points down, or I need to be 10 points over, at which point I've got to go back and redo the list. I need to put a character in there. I don't have a character. I'm using all of my characters. Why do you put Nurglings there? I don't have Nurglings. So in the end, what I had to do in order to complete this list and make it like good, to have a unit that could do these secondary objectives, I had to go and borrow a friend's Nurglings. That's annoying. I shouldn't have to go out and start fucking around and borrowing models just so that I can have a list that actually not only hits the nose on 2,000 points, but also is actually going to be doing the job that I want it to be doing. And before anyone says, well, Mordian, clearly you just need more Death Guard, I have 170 Plague Marines. Okay, I have 170 Marines that I can use as various different kind of power armor things. But I've got 170 power armor bodies. I've got 22 Terminator bodies, and I've got a Death Guard armored company. I have enough models. But the thing is I don't have all the right combinations of models. Unlike my guard, where I've got every option. My Death Guard, because of the way that I built the army, because of the lore that I built for my army, because of the headcanon, because of the way I want this army to feel, there are certain units that I have purposely not included. And yet, what I'm finding with my Death Guard is because of this, the units that I have never add up to that magic 2,000. And so my Death Guard list always feels just a bit incomplete, just a bit annoying, a bit finicky. That's it. It doesn't feel smooth. If I was to boil this down to one thing, if I was to boil it down into one salient point, the fixed points don't feel smooth, which I think is quite ironic and probably the opposite of what fixed points should be doing. Because fixed points should be like, oh, you don't need to fanny around with all the little different points. You can just take 1, 2, 3, 4, and it always adds up to 2,000. Or you can go 2, 5, 6, 8, 9. It always adds up to 2,000. It doesn't matter what units you take, you can always add up to 2,000. But the issue is that there is nuance to this, and as a result, the pieces don't quite go together. There's always like a little piece missing. And it just makes the thing frustrating. That's why building lists in 40k at the moment feels off. That's why it doesn't feel good, because it's not smooth and it feels like the system is working against the player. And what's crazy, what's absolutely bonkers is I was so close to liking fixed points. I was in the GW bubble. I was believing the propaganda, because I'd been using these fixed points for like 9 months, and I was like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's not bad, it's fine, I'm getting used to it. I just started getting used to the process of having to half of the time deconstruct my list and rebuild it in a slightly different way just to get a bit more juice out of the squeeze. I was just sort of getting used to that. But do you know what broke the spell? Do you know what allowed the scales to fall from my eyes? Do you know what allowed me to see through the lies of the Jedi? It was the old world. Of all games, it was the old world. Because building lists in the old world is a dream. Oh no, and some people may disagree with me on this, but it's a dream. And the reason is because the player has all of the control. The onus is on you to build a good list. And as a veteran player, maybe I am seeing this through a different perspective to a lot of people, and I will accept that. Like I said at the beginning, this could be boomer shouts at cloud. I get that. But because the player has full control, it's like, here's 0, you want to get 2,000, here's this entire smorgasbord of options, and every weapon from your general starts the hand weapon, and each individual weapon option he has got a separate points value. It's granular points in the old world. It's not fixed points, it's granular. My Dwarf Lord may cost 300 points, but over on the next table, someone who's got a Dwarf Lord and the model is identical, his might only cost 200. Because of the different points, the different war gear, the different magical equipment that he's given his guy over my guy. And so what I found with Old World is suddenly it was like, oh wow, I could just get to 2,000 so easily, so naturally every single time. And what really hit home is how many times I would get to the end of a list for Old World and I'd be like 10 points over. And do you know what I would do? I wouldn't have to start going back and reconstructing the whole thing because the jigsaw pieces didn't fit together. Do you know what I did? Just drop 2 soldiers. Oh, that block of state troops, I'll just go from 30 to 28. That's fine. Now I'm below. Now I'm 2,000 points. I'm on the nose. Because I haven't got these fixed loadouts and these fixed squad sizes, these fixed war gear options. Because if I've got an idea in my head and I want these combos to go off, I can get to the end of the list and then all I can do is just drop a couple of extra bozos that I'd put into a list to try and make a block a nice, neat 6x4 or 6x5. And some people are like, no, well, you have to have the equal unit sizes, of course. And that's a different itch, a different thing you have to scratch entirely. I get that. But the ability to get to the end of a list, see that I'm a couple of points over and go, I'm just going to take this out, or see that I'm a couple of points under and go, I'll just add this in, is so good, and it feels so nice, and it feels so smooth, and it feels highly, highly fun, and it is not frustrating. And to step out of the GW bubble for a moment and to continue flogging this dead horse, I played a few games of Bot Action recently, and it was the same thing. I got to the end of my list, and I was like, oh, I've got 3 points left over. What will I do? I'll give an extra guy an SMG. That's a useful upgrade. I'm not just putting something in there to reach the limit. Because I've got these fine detail, these fine granular points cost. Some things cost 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. Because I've got these little details, I can get to the end of the list and I'm like, oh, I can put an extra SMG on my German veteran squad. Fantastic. Oh, no, I'm a little bit over. Tell you what, I'll drop that assault rifle. Boom. I'm perfect now. I've got the loader that I want. It just made it so easy and quick to just slap a couple of bolt action lists together and just start playing. And it's because of all of this smoothness pre-game that Simon and I actually got 2 bolt action battle reports filmed in one day. We got 2 bolt action battle reports filmed in the time that it takes us to film half a 40k battle report. That's insane. And I guess we're definitely going off on a tangent here now, so I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole much at all. But this kind of feeds into one of the problems I think 40k has at the moment, where there's all of this shit going on around the game, like outside of the game, that's taking away from just playing the game. When I want to play a game of Old World, I can throw a list together, I can fine tune it at the end pretty simply. Simon can do the same thing and we can start playing. When I play a game of bolt action, it's the same thing. Chuck a couple of lists together, doesn't take long at all, and we can just start playing. But in 40k, you've got all of this stuff that's going on with the list building, fiddling around. Like, oh, I really want to make sure I've got this. I really want to make sure I've got this. And then you've got all of the pre-game stuff, tactical objectives, fixed objectives. It's all of this stuff. So I guess the whole list building thing is just a small example of, I feel like 40k has a lot of extra steps involved and a lot of mechanics that take you out of the game. But maybe I am extrapolating things, and maybe I'm going off on a tangent, and maybe I'm seeing things or correlating things that shouldn't be correlated. Who knows? In fact, you know what? All of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you like the fixed points after a year of 10th edition? Have you been converted over to fixed points, or do you wish we could go back to granular points? And if you also found that it's not as smooth as you thought it was. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.